Hello guys and welcome to another fantastic edition of Rage Against the Dice. Look at me boasting about it being fantastic, but trust me, the content that we're about to cover, definitely worth the title of fantastic. So, once again, we're on the Warhammer community page, trawling for stories, media content, something that I can put up on the channel to keep you guys excited and interested. And I think on this occasion, Games Workshop have delivered. By Jove. Yes, I did say by Jove. But by Jove, the Nova Open 2018 previews were fantastic, and we're going to delve straight into them. Now, this story went up on the 30th of August. I wanted to cover it straight away, but I had other videos that had already been scheduled to go up, and I'm not going to put multiple videos up on the same day, especially if it's going to be a long one like this. And trust me, it will be a long one, because I want to, go into it in as much detail as I can. So, that being said, if you want to pause it for 2 minutes, go make yourself a warm beverage, maybe pour yourself a glass of water, get yourself a couple of custard creams or bourbon biscuits, I'm a hobnob man myself, but whatever your preference is, and then we can sit back and we can have a look at this story. Right guys, so I assume you did pause it, so welcome back. Let's just jump straight into this bad boy. So as I said, this is the Nova Open 2018 studio preview. I'm going to be reading from the article as well as giving my own thoughts and opinions. We're going to look at some of the photos. We're not going to watch any of the videos we put up because I'm still really not sure on the ramifications of copyright strikes and stuff like that. I've never had one. I don't want one. Hopefully Games Workshop don't give me one just for covering their article because I'm promoting it, which is what they say. Share, etc. So, 300 lucky fans have had a chance to peer into the future at the Warhammer community and studio preview at Nova Open. And now, it's your turn. So, we weren't one of the lucky 300, I'm assuming, from the people watching this. But now we get the chance to live vicariously through this Warhammer community page. So cool. Thank you very much, Games Workshop. We appreciate you as always. So we've got new models, box sets, and awesome stuff you didn't even know you were excited about until right now. So we'll get stuck in immediately. Well, knowing me, we'll probably procrastinate a little bit. Maybe talking about how we're going to procrastinate about procrastinating. But anyway, I digress. It's an incredible time to be a Warhammer 40k player. Over the past few years, you've enjoyed a massively fleshed out new edition with codexes for nearly every army in the game, and radical new ways to play, and then of course incredible new models. Well, I have to say actually Games Workshop have really knocked it out the park in the last 12 months, especially when it comes to Warhammer 40k. Since 8th edition came out, we have had codexes pretty regular, filling in the gaps and, making sure they covered every army. We also then got the chapter approved, which I personally thought came out a little soon, but I was told, shut up, it didn't come out too soon, go back into your box. So I did go back in my box. But yeah, I honestly believe Games Workshop have been, really pushing it this last sort of 12-15 months, and they've done really good things with 40k, so you can't fault them on that. Or you can, but I personally don't. So, there's some blah blah blah, but we're not going to read into that, because we're going to jump straight to October. And guys, we've definitely got a load of content coming in October. Any of you who don't already know, which is probably very few, because I talk about it all the time, I'm a massive Orc fan. The first ever army I had for 40k was Orcs. The biggest army I've ever owned in any game of any system with the most painted models was I had 15,000 points worth of 40k Orcs, of which about 8k of them were painted. That's the most I've ever painted on anything. Most of the time I paint up 2k and then a few little extras for swapping out and swapping in units. But the Orcs, my plan was to build a big Armageddon-style WoW army to play in Apocalypse. Never got finished. But now we have a new edition. So 2019, and I'm going on record as saying this, 2019, we're going to start the Great WoW. We're going to preview it a bit in October, but in January onwards, we're going to build a massive Orc army throughout the year for 40k, and we're going to customize some stuff, we're going to paint some stuff, we're going to plan what we're going to buy, and obviously you guys can, in the comments, let me know if there's things that I should add to my army, colour schemes maybe I should use, that kind of thing, and we're gonna do it together. So we're going to start the great big WoW in January, but for now, let's get back to the article. So October comes. You've waited. You've watched the other armies get their moment in the sun, and the time has finally come to unleash the war upon the galaxy. And that's true, we have been kind of left till the end, but when you look at some of the stuff that's coming out with it, you can maybe see why. Let's have a look. So this is a game called Speed Freaks that's coming out, I'm assuming in October, since they're hyping it for that. And what it is a high-octane racing game set in the desert expanses of Vigilus, pitting orcish bikes and buggies against one another in brutal, unpredictable death races. So this is really, really exciting. We're getting new vehicles for orcs. And I mean, I know we've had trucks and battle wagons and things like that in the past, but some of the things were really, really old looking, like the buggies and things like that. They looked a bit past it, is what I'm going to use. So I'm really excited about this. Now, this is the game itself, and as you can see, you get some scenery. I'm hoping that's a map that you get with it. You get little cards, which are becoming somewhat of a staple of Games Workshop now. Obviously, you get your rulebook and you get the models themselves. My first thought when I saw this picture, and I don't know if anyone else agrees, and if you do, let me know in the comment, and if you disagree, let me know in the comment section, and we can have a discussion about it. Straight away, this screamed Gaslands to me. It felt like Games Workshop had seen that Gaslands did really well and thought, we want to get in on this. Plus the fact that we've got an orc release coming up, so we can combine the two. I could be wrong. That could be the cynic in me. It could be that little cynical part of me that says Games Workshop don't do anything without malicious intent. And I don't know. Maybe it's because, I don't know, I was warped as a child by really cheap models, and they're not cheap anymore because of inflation and being an adult and stuff. I don't know, but for me, it looks very Gaslandsy, and that's not a bad thing because I love Gaslands, and the idea of Gaslands with orcs just appeals to me. So it seems like you get this little area where, kind of like X-Wing maybe, where you'll plan your moves or something without people seeing. Ooh, maybe it's like Robo Rally, because you can see it looks like there's some little dice here, and maybe you plan the order and do things, and you do it secret to your opponent. I'm really excited to see. There's a little video here, and we're not going to watch it today, but I am going to watch it once I finish this article, and then I'll be able to know. Maybe they'll tell me in this video. Maybe this video is just all cool stuff. I'm not sure. But anyway, so after you've played a few games, you'll notice that you have enough models to start your own speed war in the form of an outrider detachment worth of buggies and war bikes. But what war boss could possibly keep up? And it's this guy. So we're going to look at the pictures in a second. I'm going to read this a little bit out for you because I'm really interested in this. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit of an anecdote. So the war boss on Deathkiller Wartrike is a brand new vehicle-mounted leader for your armies that allows you to field a force of nothing but orc vehicles. So that is really, really cool. We can now do a full Cult of Speed army. The problem is the models look so good, so everybody's going to have a Cult of Speed army for the next couple of months. So, which is why we're not starting ours till January. But with regards to the army we're going to be doing, we're going to cover each of the clans, and we're going to have our Speed Freak section, and we're going to have our Goths as the main bulk of the boys. And we're going to have, you know, bad moves and things like that. And because it's going to be a giant war, it's going to be just Gazgul's pulling everyone in kind of thing. And so we're going to have the different clans there. So that's that. It also means I can field different armies when I choose to. So let's dive right into looking at this model. So I said I was going to tell you like a little story, a little anecdote. So for many, many years, I have tried to build a war boss on a bike. I've previously bought the Forge World one, and that's a beautiful model. I can't fault it enough. I mean, I can't sing its praises enough. You know, I've got no faults with it at all. It's a beautiful model, except it's kind of Forge World prices. But it's Forge World prices. You expect to pay those prices. If you don't like it, don't buy from Forge World. But I have tried many, many times to build a very good-looking war boss on a bike, and it always kind of looks like just an orc stud with a bike between its legs, and it looks a bit silly. I've tried it with some of the metal ones. I've tried it with the plastic one that you got in Black Reach. I've had so many of that model that I did all kinds of weird, mad, grot kind of stuff to it. Like a pain boy would have just been in his element watching me hack away at bits of those war bosses. But I've never quite got the look right, and the reason being that it always looked like just a war boss model on a bike, as opposed to this, which looks like a biker who happens to be a war boss. He hasn't got the big chunky plates on the shoulders. He doesn't have plates on his legs and things like that. He's got a very bikerish jacket. He's got the kind of leather straps everywhere. Even his power claw looks very rudimentary and very just built of scraps that he had lying around. He wants something that isn't too heavy, isn't too bulky, because they're all about speed. They're all about moving in, slicing something open, crushing something, and then kind of getting out there. I mean, they're not stealth or anything like that. They're not Eldar with hit and run tactics. Like, they're still an orc at the end of the day. They're going to get off their bike and clobber things. Crush some filthy Umis and stuff. And that's cool. But this looks like a biker who happens to be a war boss. He looks like he's come up through the ranks by crushing his superiors mainly, to the point that he's the war boss of that particular clan or that particular sort of group of bikers. And that's what I love about it. And there's all these little intricate details. There's all these little things. They look like helmets maybe, so it's the two guys' helmets, but they kind of look like squig mouths. And then you've got your big shooters here, or twin-linked shooters. I don't know what they're going to be classed as. We'll see when we see the rules. And you've got obviously your spiked wheels, and everything just feels very orky. Now if we look at the second picture, this picture's not as good because it's a very profile, side view, something, but you notice it's got the little ammo grunt at the back. It's got so many little engines, just everything about it, the little wheels here, so when it goes for wheelies, things like that, it all just feels so orky. Obviously it's not red, and it needs to be red so it can go faster, but I don't judge him for that. And then we come back to this guy here, the guy who's obviously driving it. And I'm assuming they're going to get like a collective profile. Maybe he's going to be a character. I'm not quite sure. I'm excited to see, as I said. But it's a fantastic model from start to finish. It's one of the very, very few Games Workshop models where I can't pick anything wrong with it or anything that I don't particularly, enjoy. Normally, my main complaints are things like it's balanced stupid, so it'll snap quite easily, or it has a ridiculous amount of trinkets and ornaments on it that are just unnecessary and quite cumbersome in battle. Like the new Primaris Space Marines, and they have those... I don't even know what they are, they're just ridiculous. There's that dangling, like, giant lamp thing. It looks like a stained glass window hanging from them. And... I don't know, things like when I've been painting the Warp Fiends, the big Skaven Rat Ogre things, and they've got all 200 different wires and all this meh going on. This looks like it has none of that. It's very orky, it's very clean. Like, as in, not clean as in shiny new, but I mean, it doesn't have loads of extra bulk that it doesn't need. I swear, I could talk about this model all day, but I won't for the sake of the video. Obviously, once we get the rules start leaking out, we're definitely going to cover those in more details. I'm going to look at all the stratagems, and we're going to really, really go into it and have a look at the rules of the orcs in depth, because it's October, and we might as well. But I really like this. It's called Daka Daka Daka. Each time you roll an unmodified hit roll of a 6 for an attack with a ranged weapon made by a model in this unit, that hit roll succeeds regardless of any modifiers. In addition, it can immediately make an additional roll against the same target using the same weapon, so it gets an extra shot. Obviously, they then can't be carried on, so you can't just infinitely roll 6s as Sparks from our channel would do. He really would. He would never ever stop and be like, oh, that unit's dead. But yeah, so I'm really, really excited to see what else they've got for the orcs. So, I'm going to take a pause for a second. The next thing we're going into is we're finally getting a look at some of the Sisters of Battle plastics. And I personally have very mixed thoughts on this. I'm going to bring up them in a bit closer detail. I'm going to start with, before I get instant dislikes and people in the comments going psychotic at me, I am excited for Plastic Sisters of Battle. It's about bloody time. They've needed it for so long. I think somewhat they've needed it for too long. I think it's going to be a bit Gene Stealer culty where they don't sell as well as they expect it to. And I hope I'm wrong. But because people have waited so long. So the people who have a Sisters of Battle army are probably not going to buy that many plastics because they've already got a full army. And I don't know, I see a lot of other people not bothering to pick them up. As I said, I hope I'm very wrong because I want them to do well. I like their lore. I really, really like the Sisters of Battle lore, actually. I've got all the way back to 2nd edition rulebook. This 2nd edition army book for Sisters of Battle, and I've got, you know, everything army book wise that's ever come out for them, like the Witch Hunters book and things like that. And I've got some of the other little lists that were posted, so I am very excited for them, and I think I'll probably end up doing an army. As for these heads themselves, I'm not overly keen on a lot of them. I really like this one. It's just your basic Sisters of Battle that you'd expect, the armoured face. It's got that same look that a lot of them have. That's cool, and I quite like this one. It's just sort of a variation of the same. And I really like the gas mask one, though I think the gas mask itself kind of takes away a lot of the detail of the face. But most of the problems I have with the other faces are the detailing on them, so maybe that's not a bad thing. Now, these are my opinions, and you can have different opinions to me. That is absolutely fine. We can discuss those, and I can say something I dislike, and you can say why you like it, and you can say something you like or dislike, and I can say why I either agree or disagree. That is fine. Anybody who makes douchey comments or accuses me of hating females because I don't like these specific models, I will just delete your comments. I never delete comments, but that kind of stupidity just does not belong on a comment thread. Other than that, if you want to have a conversation about why you think I'm wrong about what I'm about to say, that's absolutely cool. But if the term "you don't like it because you hate women" is in there, then I'm just going to shut that crap down straight away. I'm going to silence you. Sorry. But my reason for not liking them is I don't like the facial expressions, if I'm honest. I think they look very cartoony. They look very similar to the Warhammer books that are coming out for kids, which I'm absolutely cool with. I'm fully intending to get my boys them. I understand that I don't like them, but that's because they're not aimed at me. I mean, I'll read them, and maybe once I've read them I'll change my mind, but I don't like the art style because it's a very childish art style that is suited towards a certain age range. I am way, way beyond that age range. So this isn't one of those, I hate those books, it's an abomination, kill Games Workshop. I'm excited for them, for my children. I'm going to buy them for my children, who they are meant for. I will have a read of them, probably when I read it to my youngest, and I will either like or dislike. I will form an opinion. But from the artwork I've seen on the book so far that they've shown on Games Workshop, which is again very limited, they've only showed, you know, the 140k and one Age of Sigmar to my knowledge, I didn't like the art style. And these models feel that art style, and though that's not a bad thing, it just doesn't fit, in my opinion, with the rest of 40k, and I may completely change my mind when I see these on a model. So I will stress that now. Once I see them on a model, I might completely change my mind. Because I've done it many times. I've seen like a model, like a head, or I've seen just a chest plate, or I've seen where they show like a cheeky little, you know, like arm or something like that, and I've thought, oh, I'm not convinced by that. And then when you see the full model altogether, you change your mind on it. But as things stand, I really don't like the facial features on this one. I think the hair's fine. Don't particularly like the little sneer on this one. I think, again, the hair in the patch is fine. This one's just, I don't know, this one fits for me, Sisters of Battle, but there's just something about it I don't like. As I said, I like this one. I really don't like this one at all. You know when you look at something and it doesn't seem right to you, but you can't put the words into why it doesn't seem right? I look at it and something feels off about it. I don't know what that is, and maybe someone in the comments will be able to shed some more light on it. They might feel the same, but be able to articulate why they don't like it. I don't particularly have any dislike to this one. This one feels very retro-y. It feels very much like the old metal ones I had. And if I was to dig them out somewhere, I would probably see a head very, very similar to this. It's not doing a stupid sneer. I understand angry face, I understand war battle face, but a sneer? Like somebody's just said something she doesn't enjoy? I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. And this one just looks like they're gurning. Anybody who's not from the UK who's watching, you might need to Google gurning, but it's like a funny face. People do. So this is the negative. I'm really happy we're getting plastic sisters, and I'm going to build an army. I'm not going to lie to you. But from what I've seen of these heads, I'm not a big fan of them. But that means nothing. I could go through every miniature range that Games Workshop do, and I could find a unit or a model that I didn't like. So this is in no way an anti-Sisters of Battle, anti-Plastic Sisters of Battle, or anything like that. I just don't particularly like those heads. That being said, let's move on before I alienate everyone who's watching. We're getting a new chapter approved. That was obvious when they called it Chapter Approved 2017 or whatever it was. We were going to get another one. Much like the Codex, not the Codex, the General's Handbook for Age of Sigmar, we're just going to get a new one every year. And I have no problem with that. I was quite annoyed about the price of Chapter Approved last time. I thought it could have been cheaper. But it is what it is. If you want to play in tournaments and stuff, you need it. If you don't want to play in tournaments, you don't strictly need it. So it's up to you. We get some Knight news. I'm not really a fan of Imperial Knights. I like the old Titans. I've still got a load of the Epic Titans and stuff, and I really, really like the looks of those. I'm just not a fan of all the Knight stuff. And again, it's a personal preference. So Imperial Knights players have had a great year, with 4 new variants to add to their armies and a codex that brings those valiant warriors to life as never before. We're not done with Knights just yet. September will see a hero from the codex land on tabletops. So that guy and this big beastie here. And he's called Sir Hector. And he'll be available in a brand new box that features parts for every single of your, Questoris class knights, alongside new weapons for the knight, preceptor, and components that let you build detailed interior cockpits and scions for your household. What's more, it'll cost no more than the Knight Gallant set. Essentially, we've thrown in an awesome extra frame for free. Well, though I don't like knights, that's cool. You can't argue with that if it's the same price. Like, if you want to buy the battle wagon for orcs, for instance, and then you want to buy the battle wagon with the death roller on, there's a difference in price. It would be the equivalent of them going, we've re-released a battle wagon set with a death roller in it, no extra cost. Like, you might as well buy it. You might as well go for the new one and get the extra stuff. So that's really, really cool. So with the new codex making rules available for a range of fan favourite knights houses, we've had loads of requests for some old transfer sheets to be reprinted with House Griffith among the most asked for. So next month, alongside Hector, you'll be able to get your hands on the House of the Knights transfer sheet. I'm really struggling with words when it comes to transfer sheet. You'll get some renowned houses on a transfer sheet now, so that's cool. Anyway, I'm just going to take a little sip of my water. So, next we've got building your kill team the easy way. So, if you're anything like us, here in the Warhammer community team, you'll be building lots of new kill teams. Well, that's absolutely true. We're all stacking up masses of kill teams. Any of the groups we're on, any of the channels we follow, you'll see that everybody is amassing loads and loads of kill teams. What Games Workshop have done, much like they did with the Combat Roster and the War Scroll Builder for both Age of Sigmar and 40k, they have brought out Kill Team Command Roster, which will be a free tool that lets you build match play lists, and that's coming up soon. That's awesome. Now all you need to do is bring out a Necromunda one, and you'll be sound. But I like it. I think it's really, really good. I like that they're interacting more. I would like them to bring out a Games Workshop app that puts all these in app form, because the War Scroll Builder and the Combat Roster never used to work really well on my phone. I haven't tried them recently, but they didn't work very well on and I've got a Galaxy S9 Plus. I don't know if it was the phone or whether it was the site, but that's by the by. Sorry about that. So, the Noble chapter returns. Thought lost for nearly a decade, and at the Imperium's darkest hour, a noble chapter returns. That's right, turn signals on a Land Raider. The much-loved classic Warhammer 40k webcomic has a new home right here on the warhammercommunity.com. We're partnering with creator Stephen to bring you the continuing misadventures of Kren, Frep, and the Emperor's Pointy Sticks. Well, I genuinely have nothing to say about this. I never read the comic previously. So yeah, it's exciting for those that enjoyed it. Maybe I'll give it a check out. But really, it doesn't do anything for me personally. But because I said I was going to cover this article in detail, it's there for you if that is something you're interested in. So, a lot of you will be familiar with the work of Sarah Kesar. Her endearing portraits are a regular feature on our websites. We thought her art was so cool that we hired her as a full-time member of the Warhammer community team and gave her a webcomic to illustrate. So that's cool. Teaming up with our new artist is the writing team behind the Regimental Standard, Herald, and Role Models. And Varn Glorious will follow the quest of Buck Varn, Rogue Trader, blah 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 blah. So it's this art style that I was talking about that I'm not really a fan of. If you like it, that's cool. As I said, art either appeals to you or it doesn't. I don't think this art style fits 40k for me. Other people could disagree, and that's cool. But for me, I don't like it. That's not to say she's not a fantastic artist. That's a beautiful piece of artwork. It just, I don't enjoy it. It doesn't fit the aesthetic of 40k the way I see it. I'm very old school. I love sort of a lot of the Games Workshop, or sort of the John Blanche artwork that was used in Games Workshop books and things like that. That suits my art style better. That, as I said, that's not to say that isn't nice. It's just not my style. But now we're going to move on to something I am super excited about, which is Warhammer Underworlds. Obviously, we've been calling it Shadespire for a year. So, let's dive straight into this little section. So, it's amazing to think that just 1 year ago, fans at Nova were trying Warhammer Underworlds for the first time. We're happy to return with news of a brand new season, Warhammer Underworlds Night Vault. So Night Vault is Season 2 of Warhammer Underworlds, bringing 8 new warbands, hundreds of cards and new mechanics to the game. Let's hope there's more Skaven. Let's hope there's more Skaven. Let's hope there's more Skaven. Moving on. So, the shyish Necroquake rocks them all realms, and not even the hidden city of Shadespire is safe. As magical enemies rack the mirrored city, more travellers are drawn in search of glory, and so Nagash has opened the Night Vault, an arcane prison used by cataphragms of old to perform horrific experiments. Nagash, what are you up to now, you cheeky clown motherfucker? Ugh, he does look, old school Nagash looked like a clown. He will never look anything else to me. You can give him the beautiful new model you've given him, with all his intricacy and his spindliness, but to me he'll always be an evil skeleton clown. But moving on from that. So, Night Vault features some of Warhammer Underworld's most unusual warbands yet, with some fan favourite factions making their debut in the Mirrored City, as well as some things we've never seen before in the core set. You'll find a lightning-wielding trio of Stormcast Eternals and a grisly host of Chain Rasps, led by Wraith Witch known as the Briar Queen. So let's have a look at these. I am going to admit I'm a little bit disappointed that the core starter set gives us more Stormcast Eternals. We already got 2 sets of Stormcast in the last season, but it was obviously going to happen. Now these models are fantastic. They were fantastic, they're similar to the new stuff that came out for AOS 2. These are beautiful models. Again, they suffer from that balancing on stupid bits of plastic that I think Games Workshop seem to be leading more towards now. Like, functional seems to have gone out the window and it's all about the pretty. And I get the pretty, but functional matters. And then there's these guys, and I'm not a big fan of Stormcasts in general. I did really like the ones that you get in Shadespire. I wasn't that big a fan of the crossbowy guys you got that were released towards the end of Season 1. And again, I'm not particularly excited by these, but they look fantastic. So Night Vault also features a brand new system of magic spells, powerful gambits, and attack action usable only by sorcerers. Spells add an additional layer of tactics and depth to the game, as well as a number of interesting considerations when building your deck, promising to shake up tournaments, not to mention your games with your mates considerably. Now, on the one hand, I really like this idea. I like the idea of adding spells and adding an extra mechanic to the game. That being said, the game works perfectly as it is. It's this beautiful little sort of parcel, if you will, and it feels like they're trying to cram another layer into it. I hope it pulls off really well, and I'm definitely going to be A, getting it, B, covering it on the channel, and C, giving you my thoughts on it when we see it. And here we have what looks like comes in the new star set. As I said, I'm definitely going to get it. A couple of extra boards, if nothing else, to play it on the old set. When you've got something that's this self-contained beautiful thing and then you try and add an extra mechanic to it, it can either go one of two ways, which will be it integrates perfectly and you'll think, how did I ever live without it? Or the alternative is that it sucks. That it feels clunky, it feels out of place, and will end up not getting used, or will get used by the guys who only want to use it to win because it's so overpowered. It's going to go one of two ways. I'm going to say it's going to work to perfection, or it's going to be flat out terrible. There's going to be no middle ground with it. And you can hold me to that. If I'm wrong, feel free to pull me on my BS. So, then we get this. It's just beautiful. I don't even care about anything else. It's just a flying squig. No more needs to be said, really. So we're getting towards the end of the article now, and I'm going to wrap it up because the other bits that we've got are just little bits. So we get a plug for something called Wrath and Rapture, which is Realm of Chaos. And there's a little video which, as I said, go and check it out. As always, the link for this whole article is going to be in the description, so you can watch the videos yourself and things like that. We also get some more Middle-earth stuff, which I'm really excited for, but I am going to do a separate video on Middle-earth. It's one I still want to cover heavily on the channel. We do get a new Gandalf model. It's really pretty, but as I said, I want to cover where we're up to so far on Middle-earth strategy battles as like a one big video, so I'm giving it sort of a month or so to see if any new stuff kind of trickle out, and then I'm going to do a big retrospective video on where we're at now with regards to Middle-earth. So I'm going to leave that at that, and kind of show you this cool thing. Now, I've been a big fan of Warhammer Quest for many years. I did quite enjoy when obviously the ones they just brought out, which was Silver Tower and Hammerhall. I actually really enjoyed them. I missed some of the old Warhammer Questy business, but I liked them for what they were, which is sort of to fit with a more modern age. 40k is getting its own version of it, which is called Blackstone Fortress. I'm going to read you this because I am quite excited for it. So, for years you've clashed across the most war-torn battlefields of the 41st millennium in the hard-fought skirmishes and titanic conflicts. But the galaxy is a huge place with many dark corners still to explore. Just as Warhammer Quest allowed you to visit Silver Tower and Hammerhall, as we've already mentioned, now it will put you at the heart of one of 40k's most enduring mysteries, the Blackstone Fortress. Part role-playing adventure, part battle game, Warhammer Quest Blackstone Fortress promises a cooperative narrative experience in the 41st millennium like no other, and will feature a host of stunning new miniatures that will bring all manner of champions and villains from the lore to life as never before. I'm pretty excited for that. Yes, so stand by for more news on Blackstone Fortress soon, along with everything else that has been revealed. Of course, it's just beginning of our coverage of Nova Open with 4 days with Jeff and Frankie commentating on our games, blah blah blah. So yeah, they're doing some twitchy stuff which I don't care about, God bless them. This is probably one of the most exciting articles I've read in a long time. Meh. We're getting a new app for Kill Team, well not an app, but we're getting an army builder for Kill Team, chapter approved, new knights, Finally, some Plastic Sisters of Battle. New Orc stuff, so our Great War can begin. Speed Freaks, a whole new board game. Now, I'm just going to stress, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I really like the idea of releasing a board game or a standalone game or a special 2-player box set that ties in with the release. I liked it when they just did it with Tooth and Claw. I really like it with Speed Freaks. I hope it's a continuing thing. More small little games always works. Even if they're only on the shop floor for a limited run and then they go to web only and you have to wait a while because they need to physically print them up. I think it's a great idea. It gets new people into the hobby because the hobby's expensive. It's always been a pricey hobby, as all hobbies are, but it's getting more so as the prices of models go up and the prices and the wages of people stay the same, essentially. And again, it's not that I'm saying that Games Workshop or hobbying in general is too expensive. I'm just saying it does cost more to build an army now than it used to cost to build an army. I'm not going into reasons for that. I'm not debating it. It's just a fact. If you look at how much it used to be to build a unit compared to how much it is now to build a unit, it's a lot more now, even when you take inflation into account. That's not to say that I don't love the hobby. I'm especially, even when I have my disagreements with Games Workshop as a company, I still remember all the great stuff they've given me. I still remember all the great stuff I still know the great stuff that's going to come, like Speed Freaks, which looks cool. So I'm quite willing to pay their prices. And if people are willing to pay their prices, then they're the prices they're going to charge. So if you want change, don't buy their products for a while and they'll maybe rethink some stuff. But realistically, we're all addicted. We're all on that plastic crack. So we're going to keep buying this stuff. So the little games, they're a really good way to get your foot in the door. Same as things like First Strike and whatever the Age of Sigmar version was, a little £25 box that gives you 2 starters, some dice, and a basic how to play. That kind of thing works. So I'm going to leave it on this. If I could just say one last thing before obviously I shill the channel. Go check out the Warhammer community page. Read their articles. They've got some really, really good stuff. The Games Workshop aren't the Games Workshop of old. They're very transparent with a lot of things. They show a lot of stuff early and they get you hyped. So go and check it out. Brilliant, guys. But anyway, as always, give us a thumbs up because it feeds Alan's ego, which is really what matters. If it's your first time visiting our channel, please check out some of our other content. Maybe it'll appeal to you and you can consider subscribing. I'm trying to get my subscribers up to 1,000 by the end of the year. If you can help me along with that by sharing the videos, by subscribing, by getting your friends to subscribe and stuff like that, I'd absolutely appreciate it. Of course, hit that bell for notifications because we're a tiny channel. YouTube doesn't give a crap to tell you that we exist. So the only way you'll know our videos are up or if I share them on Facebook, or you get a notification because you've hit the bell. Other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching as always. I'm excited for what's coming up in the future from Games Workshop as well as what's coming from other companies. Thank you very much for your time. Pray the dice gods and hope they smile upon you. Take care.